Assalamu alaikum.
Alaikum salam. How you doing today?
Alhamdulillah. I'm good.
Alhamdulillah, alhamdulillah.
How's yourself?
I'm hanging in there, my brother, hanging in there.
Is it cold for you?
I'm sitting on the patio and it's a bit chilly. I thought I'd come out and get some fresh air, but I think I'll make it.
You getting one out for your dose of vitamin D, huh?
Yes, sir. I started the morning out with a coffee and a plate of sliced oranges.
Okay.
So I thought I would get some natural vitamin C as well.
That always helps out. The natural is the better one, for sure.
But the oranges did taste good.
They always do. All of that sugar, you know.
Yeah. Like
That's my only
that
knock
is,
on oranges. That you
but that is the
they
better
gotta.
way to eat sweets, right?
Yeah, I guess you gotta eat them. Yeah, yeah, for sure.
Mhm. So I got my charge for the day.
What about for the afternoon? I mean, you haven't talked about the protein that you need.
Well, I haven't had dinner yet. I think we'll have. I'm not for sure. I think we're going to have chicken. We haven't decided on what we're going to have for dinner yet.
That's why where everybody missing the boat at with the protein is that they think one meal is going to make up for it, and that it gives you a good dose, but you need to have at least 100 grams of protein every day, and that meal will probably only come up to maybe 50, maybe 50, 60. You're running a deficit of 40, and we old folks need that protein, man, to build muscle because we're losing muscle left and right without even, I mean, doing that. You're trying to do our best with it, but we aren't putting the building blocks there that it needs. Got
So
to
a
get some
chicken,
protein in the morning.
so a chicken breast would have about how much protein?
45.
45.
Mm-hmm.
So if I eat two chicken breasts, I'm pretty much covered.
Pretty much, yeah, yeah. Two chicken breasts will get you up there. But your size and height and everything, you should be up around 120. But 100 is the bare minimum.
Okay.
If you're doing less than 20 and you were doing that on the regular, you're running a deficit almost every day.
Okay. So I will work on eating more protein. But I do have peanut butter sandwiches periodically.
Saying regularly schedule protein, infusions to get your body be prepared so it doesn't get assaulted by all of this stuff. No, but I'm gonna deal with that today, maybe not to the fullest extent, but we're definitely going to be talking about that because I know that's where a lot of people are dropping the ball at. They're getting in, and certainly when we talk about doing vegetarians are notorious for not getting enough protein.
Mm.
How much?
And because they don't plan for it, they just like, oh, I'm going to eat some beans and I'm going to eat some this. Yes.
Salam alaikum.
Salam.
How much protein does eggs have? Like 2 eggs would have, 2 large eggs.
Well, that's about 30.
And how many do we need a day? I know I'm not getting enough a day.
Yeah, definitely when you get to be older, we're losing muscle because just the aging process and not moving. And then we're not giving ourselves what we need. So we kind of like sliding down the hill slowly.
Yeah, huh?
And we're setting ourselves that all of these arthritic stuff we're having, and we can't do better. We can't, we're in pain and stuff. It's because we're really in a deficit with, the things that our body needs, the minerals, number one, and number two is your protein. You know
Yeah,
what that,
I definitely know.
I went to the doctor last week and he showed me again. I just went back for a follow-up. My X-ray, he did another X-ray on my back, and he like, of course he didn't remember that I had come to him before. I didn't take my pictures with me, so he had forgotten me. So he went ahead and did another set of X-rays. No problem. I mean, $20 X-ray, no big deal. And he showed me, but my bone is demineralizing. You know what demineralizing means? Your
No,
bones is losing calcium. The number one mineral in bones is calcium, and phosphorus.
right.
And when you are demineralizing your bone because of arthritis and inflammation and acidic conditions and all of that, the bones just kind of like start to deteriorate. It just little by little by little by little. And the thing you have to got to start thinking about doing is I need to remineralize my body, remineralize my bone, so my bones can stop breaking down. And that's the key, to give your body the minerals that it needs so that it won't continue going in that direction. It can start turning around and going back in the other direction. And we are all suffering from that to some extent. I don't know of anybody in our age group that's not having some problems with their knees, their backs, their necks, their hair, their feet, their hands, their shoulders. All of
Oh,
that is because of what we've done. And I'll lead the pack. I'll be the first to put my hands up. I'm guilty.
but I think you described me just now, except for my neck so far. Inshallah.
Yeah.
So maybe I should drink a little bit more milk.
Milk
No,
is,
I
if you can
just
tolerate it, if you can tolerate it, that might help. But the vitamin D3 and the K2 will
yeah.
help, and some
Well,
magnesium.
I'm taking all of those.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But there's something else though that's missing. That inflammation is something, what's causing the inflammation is what's also contributing to that.
Yeah, that's what I need to figure out.
Yeah.
Oh well.
Yeah.
I don't
Anyway,
you know, if it-
let's pray ourselves into session here, and we can get started. Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Ya Allah, the source of all healing. We gather here today with hearts full of gratitude for the blessings of health and knowledge that you have provided for us. We ask for your guidance as we strive to improve our well-being and make choices that honor our bodies you have entrusted to us. O Allah, grant us wisdom to understand the knowledge we share here today. Open our hearts, minds to new insight, and bless us with the strength and determination to adopt healthier habits. Protect our hearts both physically, spiritually, and mentally, and fill them with peace and contentment. Bless everyone here today and all of those that will be attending, inshallah, and bless our loved ones with good health, lifelong, and the ability to serve you with vitality, make our efforts a means of drawing closer to you and a source of benefit to our communities. I mean,
I mean,
so welcome to what I hope to be a foundational session where you get to get the knowledge that you need, that we all need to embark upon this 30-day health reawakening. Someone told me a few days ago, I'm not sure if it was anybody in this group or another group, but there's a group in New York called MIB, the Mosque of Islamic Brotherhood. And years ago, they used to, before Ramadan came, they used to go through this health cleansing routine. I used to go to, they had a very good restaurant and health food store up on 149th Street in New York. Now, they started out there, at least that was like really back in the 80s, going way, way, way back. And then they moved over to 119th Street near Malcolm Shabazz Masjid, and they had a health food restaurant there. You used to go down there and get all kind of good food served to you, and they always had a good health food store to go along with it and everything. But every year before Ramadan, they would go through this health routine, which was a process of getting your body, mind, soul in the mode of getting ready for Ramadan, for fasting. And that's not what spurred me to do this. That was kind of like an afterthought of, and then really a justification for doing it, because this is something that has been being done by a group of people and probably a lot of other people that do this. Some type of a cleansing or preparation for the month of Ramadan. I'm doing it because I guess last year, this is like 1 year anniversary of January 1st, 2024, when I embarked upon my health challenge, health journey to get me back into health, because I was in some pretty bad shape, and I want to go through that again unless somebody asked me to do that. But I was in bad shape. But I started step by step by step by step, and building and building and building. And some of you know me when I was like on the heavier side, and then weeks later, a month or so or two later, then everybody started to like lose the weight and the face, and everything started to change, and it was clear that something was happening that I could not put my hand on. But at least I saw the lowering of my blood pressure. That was the number one thing that I wanted to get under control. And along with that went the lowering of my blood sugar. I said, I'll take that. I'll take that. And other things, the weight, was falling off, and that felt good, to be able to feel how you feel with a lot of stuff, a lot of guts in your body. You just feel bloated. I just slim down. So that was my health challenge. So this year is I guess the anniversary of that. So I'm doing it more of as a renewal, a reawakening for me for what I did a year ago. And because of the imminent, or the coming Ramadan, or the month of Shaban, and then the month of Ramadan, I thought, together, let's see if we can get mileage out of this. We're only going to do 30 days of health health journeying, which means, I'll explain what that means, how we're going to pursue it. We aren't going to like get on one thing and stay on it. We're going to kind of do different things. See if how our body responds to different aspects of eating good, eating healthy. It's all about eating healthy, eating good, making our bodies getting the best and the most out of our bodies. So that's what we're really talking about. This 30-day health reawakening is an attempt, a um, a journey we're going to try to follow to get to a higher state of good health and well-being. So, welcome to our first step of our journey, and hopefully I'll give you information that you will need to help you to pursue this journey and be successful at it. The goal is to do it, but to also get out of it the most you can get out of it, the most health, the most spirituality, the most of whatever it is you want or need. May you find in this whatever you need to get you to the next stage in life. And for me, it's, to get, to Ramadan and to be able to get through Ramadan is my goal. That's short term and nice and sweet and succinct. Is really what I would like to do. To be more spiritual, to get more spirituality out of it. I would like to read more Quran this Ramadan than I did last Ramadan. I will and read it in Arabic. I would like to read a little bit more than I read last year. And so those are my goals. And the best way to do that is to do it when you're healthy and you're in pain, you're not uncomfortable. You can like go out and exercise and walk and get the fresh air, get a hold of your life again. Is really where we're headed to. So are there any questions so far about anything that I've said, or anybody want to chime in and add to that? Preparing for Ramadan, as well as preparing for the rest of your life. It's not about just Ramadan. It's also preparing you for the rest of your life. Whatever days you got left on this earth, you want them to be the best days that you can have them to be. Ameen. So any comments out there? I thought I heard some noise in the background before. Oh, that's just anyway. This is an explanation of what it is we're going to do. I did a little video that will kind of describe to you what everything is all about. So let me see if it'll play here.
Brother Jamil, can we ask everyone to mute so that we don't hear their background noise?
You can't hear. Somebody's got their turn off your speaker.
They're muted. They're muted.
Interference.
Okay.
Okay. Right again.
Welcome to a transformative journey towards a healthier and more vibrant you. Welcome to the 30-day Health Reawakening, a program designed to rejuvenate your body and mind.
Yes.
This is a journey for a healthier you. Together, we will explore various activities that promote physical well-being. It is a way to feel more energy and vitality in your daily life. It can help you feel good again, bringing joy and happiness to your everyday moments. This is not a diet. It is a holistic approach to nourishing your body with wholesome foods. It is a new way to live, embracing healthy habits that will last a lifetime. We will use good foods to heal your body, focusing on natural and nutritious ingredients. We will use fasting to help your body repair and rejuvenate, following traditional practices. This plan is for everyone, regardless of age or fitness level. It is good for seniors, providing gentle and effective ways to stay healthy. It is designed for your body, respecting your unique needs and capabilities. This plan works with your faith, integrating spiritual practices with health routines. It is a plan for life, meant to be sustainable and enjoyable. This plan has 3 parts, each carefully crafted to support your health journey. The first part is short, designed to ease you into the program. It helps your body get ready for more intensive activities. The second part helps you burn fat and build strength. The last part is for long-term health, ensuring you maintain your progress and continue to thrive.
Fasting is a part of our faith. It is a practice that has been followed for centuries, deeply rooted in our traditions and beliefs. It is also good for our bodies. Fasting can improve our overall health and well-being, making us feel more energetic and vibrant. Fasting gives your body a break. It allows your digestive system to rest and recover, which can lead to better digestion and absorption of nutrients. It lets your body rest. This period of rest can reduce inflammation and promote healing throughout your body. Fasting helps your body heal. It can boost your immune system and help your body fight off illnesses more effectively. It helps your body clean itself. This is called autophagy. During autophagy, your body removes damaged cells and regenerates new, healthy ones. Autophagy is like a cleaning crew for your body. It ensures that your cells are functioning optimally and can help prevent diseases. Fasting can help you lose weight. By reducing your calorie intake, you can shed excess pounds and maintain a healthy weight. It can help control your blood sugar. This is especially beneficial for those with diabetes or at risk of developing it. It can give you more energy. By optimizing your metabolism, fasting can make you feel more alert and active throughout the day. Fasting is a powerful tool for health. It can improve your physical, mental, and emotional well-being. This plan uses intermittent fasting. This method involves cycling between periods of eating and fasting. This means you fast for part of the day. Typically, you might fast for 16 hours and eat during an 8-hour window. Then you eat during a set time. This helps regulate your eating patterns and can lead to better health outcomes. It is simple and effective. Intermittent fasting can be easily integrated into your daily routine, offering numerous health benefits.
This plan uses the best parts of 3 diets, combining their strengths to create a balanced and effective approach to eating. It uses the keto diet, which focuses on high-fat, low-carb meals to help your body enter a state of ketosis. It also incorporates the plant-based diet, emphasizing the consumption of whole, unprocessed plant foods. Additionally, it includes the Mediterranean diet, known for its heart-healthy benefits and focus on fresh, natural ingredients. The first 3 days are a sardine reset designed to kickstart your metabolism and provide a rich source of omega-3 fatty acids. During this period, you will eat mostly sardines, which are packed with nutrients. Sardines are full of good fats, essential for brain function and overall health. They are particularly beneficial for your brain and heart, supporting cognitive function and cardiovascular health.
Then we focus on keto, shifting your body to burn fat for energy by consuming healthy fats and proteins. You will eat healthy fats and protein while limiting carbohydrates, which helps in maintaining energy levels and reducing cravings. This dietary approach helps your body burn fat for energy, promoting weight loss and metabolic health. Next, we move to plant-based eating, which is rich in vitamins, minerals, and antioxidants. You will eat lots of fruits and vegetables, providing your body with essential nutrients and fiber. You will also include beans, lentils, and whole grains, which are excellent sources of protein and complex carbohydrates. This combination is good for your digestion and heart, promoting overall well-being. Finally, we focus on Mediterranean eating, which is known for its balanced and nutritious approach. This includes healthy fats, fish, fruits, vegetables, and whole grains, providing a well-rounded diet. This is a balanced way to eat for life, supporting long-term health and wellness.
This plan is a guide. Listen to your body. If you are hungry, eat. If you are full, stop eating. Drink plenty of water. Water helps your body work better. It helps you feel full. It is essential for good health.
Move your body every day. Walking is great exercise. You can also try gardening or swimming. Find an activity you enjoy. This is a journey. There will be challenges, but you are not alone. We are here to support you. Together, we can achieve health and well-being.
Okay. Okay, that's that part. Hope you enjoyed that. What is the 30-day health reawakening? We're gonna try out 30 days of eating holistically and eating foods and things that are going to nourish the body more thoroughly. It aligns with your physical health. It's designed to align or make your physical health better and improve your mental clarity and your spiritual focusing, your ability to focus spiritually in on that aspect of your life. And this is in preparation for some of us for the month of Ramadan. So we're kind of using this, or this is for us, has a purpose. It's not just going about life haphazardly. We're doing it based on certain principles and things that we've been taught. The other part, it combines what we know as intermittent fasting, which is a way of not eating. So we're going to be not eating at certain times, and then we're going to be eating. But when we eat, we hopefully going to be eating foods that are nutrient dense, foods that are compacted, full of nutrients that's going to provide the body with the sustenance that it needs. Because for the next one, the spiritual mindfulness that we need, the prayer and devotion, that's where we need those nutrients to come in to help to heal the body, to get rid of the aches and the pains and the conditions that we've been faced with. And again, nutrients is what is going to do that. Let thy food be thy medicine, and let thy medicine be thy food. So the nutrients in the food that we're going to be eating, the higher concentration of nutrients that we're going to be putting into our bodies are going to help with that healing process. And there is no question. There is absolutely no question that when you're eating foods that are healthy and nutrient dense, that your body is not going to throw off some of the illnesses that it's been faced with. It's going to the nutrients are going to, and because these things that we're faced with, these illnesses, the diabetes and hypertension and arthritis, all because of deficiencies in something. What? I don't know. Each of us are different. I can't say what yours are related to. I know what mine are related to. And once you know what they are, you start to address them one by one. And by adding to your body the nutrients that you need, that's going to help the body to heal itself. Healing comes from the food that we're eating, not from the medicines that you go to the doctor and he prescribes for you. That is not healing. That is only covering up the symptoms more than most of the time. Again, I'm not going to knock that establishment that's out there. They do their job. I do my job. And I say to you that whatever it is that you're suffering from, that you can heal it, correct it, stop it in its tracks by putting into your body the right combination of nutrients, be they vitamins, minerals, proteins, fats, what all of those together add up to give your body what it is that you need so that your health can get back to where it should be. This journey that we're going to be on help us to reconnect our bodies and with our deeper connection and build a deeper connection with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. With God, for those of you, it's going to help us to build that connection because we've gotten so far out of the way. We're into a different state of mind now. And we need to begin to gradually, step by step, rebuild, reestablish those connections that we need to have that's going to help our bodies to get better. And this will be done through the 4 phases that we talked about in that video that we presented. For those of us that are Muslim, we know that the month of Rajab and the month of Shaban are the 2 months that precede the month of Ramadan. And during these 2 months, is where we begin to focus in on those matters that are important. Rajab, we can say, is the month where we focus in on the food that our bodies are going to be needing. And Shaban we focus in on the spiritual aspect, the reading the Quran more, dhikring more, praying more, those things. But during the month of Rajab, this is where we get to focus in on the food, because for 30 days in Ramadan, we'll have food. It's not that we're going to be not eating food. The time will shift, but we need to really focus in on the kind of food that we eat and make sure that we get the best food, the best of the food that's available to us. So these months helps to prepare us for the month of Ramadan by allowing us to gradually align our habits, our eating habits, our reading Quran habits, our praying habits, and the routines, and all of these things, we're trying to get them out of the mode that they may be in now, which are, we do the best we can do, but we want to now take them to a higher level to prepare us for a month when the more we do spiritually in this month, the better off, the more benefits we're going to get from it. The closer Ramadan brings us closer to Allah. So if we do things in Shaban and Rajab, that's bringing us closer to it. That's bringing us closer to Allah, closer to God. And that's where we want to be. The month of Shaban is known as the month of Allah and is a time to begin to prepare for Ramadan. And so coincidentally, the month of Rajab this year started on the 1st of January. There is no special significance today. At least I don't ascribe any to it. I did fast that day, but I heard a lecture recently to say that all of these things, all these days you fast, there's really no basis in the deen for establishing these kind of things. So not that you don't fast and you don't do things, you do them all along. I fast on Mondays and Thursdays on a regular basis. I don't do it always, but I do it on a regular basis. And certainly during the month of Rajab, in the month of Shaban, I will return to getting them tightened up, doing it on a regular basis, so I can feel the benefits from that. The month of Shaban is the month of the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and it's a time to increase fasting and worship during the month of Shaban. Getting closer, tightening up your routine, tightening up your act, so to speak. And of course, the month of Ramadan is the holiest month, where we dedicate ourselves to reading, fasting, the month of fasting, and reading Quran, and more intense devotion during that month. And after the month of Ramadan, the month of Shawwal is the month when the spiritual growth can blossom even more. So we have the spirituality within here for those of us that are Muslim, so we can follow that. For those that are not Muslim, here we go. Well, I'll come to that a little bit later. And during this month, of course, we do more repentance, seeking forgiveness from Allah, solidifying our habits of fasting. By fasting on the Mondays and Thursdays. Shaban is a month when people neglect. They tend to neglect Shaban because it's kind of in between the month of Rajab and Ramadan. It is a month in which the deeds are taken up to the Lord's, your deeds are taken up to Allah, the Lord of the worlds. And I like my deeds to be taken, the Prophet Muhammad said, I like my deeds to be taken up when I'm fasting. So that gives it a higher level of blessings. Then they get the intense worship and the good deeds that go along with it. So all of these things are beneficial. And even if we're not talking about the Islamic way of fasting, we're talking about just the process of fasting and the benefits that you get from it for your overall well-being, for the brain. It's just so much that you're getting from it that mankind cannot begin to appreciate that you're building new mitochondria for your brain cells, for the cells in your body, because of the fasting that you will engage in. Or if you engage in fasting, that fasting itself enhances the mitochondria, which is the energy powerhouse of your cell, is the mitochondria. That can be enhanced tremendously. The reduced oxidative stress that goes on, oxidation and stress, or bad things that are in the body. Oxidative stress is bad for the body. So fasting reduces that. It takes it down to a minimum. And the other aspects, I'll leave these slides here for you to be able to look at your leisure. But there are so many benefits that mankind, will get from fasting that you cannot begin to imagine. And the benefits of eating healthy foods are just numerous. Eating fresh salmon, good quality protein, good healthy fats, the berries, all of these things are beneficial to the body, provide the body with the dense nutrients that it needs. And if you're eating foods like this, then your body will begin to heal itself. Okay. Fasting also provides other benefits for older adults as well. They helping the heart to become stronger, helping it just overall, it provides so many benefits for the body. Well, let me just move on here. The first type of fasting that we're going to talk about is the intermittent fasting. And this fasting is something that we are already doing anyway. We just don't call it that. We just And if we're doing it on a kind of like a haphazard basis. We haven't established really what it is. But there is the 12 hours of eating and the 12 hours of fasting. And many people will do fasting when they're asleep at night, which is the better time of the day to do it because it doesn't require, and then that's the time when the body is going through its repair process. So it's good to let the give the body food when it needs it, but stop giving it food so that the body can go through that repair process. Was there a question on anything? Then we have a 14-hour of fasting, a 10-hour of eating window, which again is an intermittent type of fasting. And that one, it's not as strict and rigorous as some of the others, but it's intermittent fasting nonetheless. And there are benefits that are contained within it, and highly recommended for everyone to start at some phase. Start at the phase that you feel comfortable with. Start at the time, eating time that you feel you can sustain and stick with. So you don't want to start with something and find that it's too restrictive and you can't keep it up, and you find yourself falling by the wayside. The fasting should be something that you establish, and it's like it's automatic, it's autopilot. And once the fasting intermittent, when you eat and when you don't eat is established, you can go on about your day and deal with those things that you need to deal with. But food and eating is not going to be one of the ones that's going to be a problem with you, because you've established the time when you're going to eat, and you try to stick with that. The 16 hours of fasting, 8 hours of eating is a bit restrictive. Some people find it difficult, especially when a lot of the fasting is done during the daytime. Okay, you're eating at a smaller window during the daytime, so you might start eating at 12 noon or 11 o'clock in the morning, and then you finish eating at, say, 7 or 8 o'clock in the evening. Okay, that's an 8 hour. If you start fasting at 11 and you finish at 7, if you start eating at 12, then you stop eating at 8. Yeah. And again, the benefits are in that are immense. I mentioned that thing about autophagy, which is where the body cleans up its act. It goes through the process of cleaning house. All of the dead cells that the body is been there, and they're not doing anything. They are just hanging out and getting in the way, really. But the autophagy is when you allow the body to clean itself, get rid of some of the old dead cells, repair the ones that are repairable, but the ones that cannot be repaired, the body has a way of getting rid of them. And it doesn't do that. It can't really do that when it's constantly being assaulted with food. It needs time to rest and relax, and that process can take place independent of us. When the repair process at night when we're asleep, that's a whole nother process that goes on when the proteins that we've eaten during the course of the day, the body now breaks it down into the amino acids. The amino acids are in the bloodstream, and the body takes them in and uses them to repair, to build new muscle, to build the body better than it was before, to build the lining of the intestines, things that need to be repaired. You're repairing them with the material that you've eaten. Then you have a 20 hours of fasting and a 4-hour window of eating, which very few people are able to sustain. And it may not be one of those things that you do for the rest of your life, but you do it for a particular time, a particular purpose, with a particular goal in mind. And then when you do that, you can return back to something that is more sustainable. The 18 hours of fasting, 6 hours of eating is a one that is highly recommended if you are definitely in this to get healthy and to lose weight. That, the 16 hours of fasting, 8 hours of eating is good, but the 18 hours of fasting, 6 hours of eating guarantees you that you will enter into autophagy. There is no question that if you follow this routine, you would see a weight loss far again short of the 20 hours of fasting and 4 hours of eating. The next one up is the 18-6. And a lot of people can do that. I do this 18-6 because I find that one is very beneficial to me, and I really want to accentuate the process. I want to feel your stomach gets to a point where it just feels it's not loaded with food all the time. It feels better. So that's the one that I recommend, but I don't recommend that for everyone unless you feel you're ready to deal with that one.
I have a question.
Yes.
When you do intermittent fasting, is it you do it every day, or is it like you do it X amount of times a week?
The best way is to do it, I would say, every day. But again, because like the sister said, we're Muslim, I do Monday and Thursday fasting according to the Islamic way of fasting.
Mm-hmm.
And the other days I do intermittent fasting.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay. But it can be a lifestyle. It's certainly something that you could adopt if you wanted to do that, because it fits into the routine. Like I said before, a lot of people are doing the 12-12 anyway. 12 hours of fasting and 12 hours of eating, but during the 12 hours of eating, it's like one meal. It's nonstop. Well, it's nonstop. It's almost continuous though. The body is never free of anything. It's just constantly having carbohydrates and things that are being poured into it. So one of the other ones, the 14-10, the 16-8, are good starting points to get you into the ball game, and then you can decide from there. Just once you get used to it. Mm-hmm.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. And then we also talked about the Monday and Thursday fasting for Muslims, because those are days in which if we fasted on those days, we get blessings and benefits from doing that. Okay, are there any questions so far? Okay, we're going to talk about the first 3 days, which is the sardine challenge. And some of you may not have gone through this before. It is a challenge indeed, but it's an interesting one because, at least I'm going to speak for myself, the hunger that I normally get from eating stuff is not apparent during this time. Somebody's got there. Let me see if I can shut off. Um, anyway, let me just. These 3-day sardine challenge is a challenge indeed. Um, because some people, the idea of eating sardines for 3 days is they've never done that before. It's just, I mean, it's hard to conceptualize eating sardines. But for me, I find it to be refreshing, um, releasing. I don't feel bloated, hungry, stuffed. It's a very gentle way of getting your body uh, into the mode of that is you're going to be doing something different for a while. This process of this thing called ketosis, I'm not sure if many of you know what it means, but it means you're getting your body into the mode of burning fat as its fuel, as opposed to burning carbohydrates. Right now, everyone here, everyone I'm talking to, probably including myself, because I wouldn't say that today I'm in ketosis. Everyone is burning carbohydrates as their energy to get around and do things and to sit up and watch this program. It's all carbohydrates doing it. So, not that carbohydrates are bad, but when your body burns carbs all the time, it doesn't know anything else but carbohydrates. It, because of that, it's producing a lot of insulin that the body needs to take the glucose to where it needs to go to in the cell. To allow the glucose to enter into the cell needs to have insulin, and it acts on a receptor on the cell that allows the sugar, glucose, to go inside of the cell. That's normal physiology. The body needs it to be that way. But it doesn't need to have carbs for fuel all the time. If your body ran on ketones or fat, and ketones, after the body metabolizes fat, it produces ketones, and it tells the body that it's in a state called ketosis. And there are good things about ketosis because ketones are medicines for the body. And if you can generate them, they will generate a process of healing, a process of protection, a process of giving you energy that you need in order to do things that you normally would do without burning carbohydrates all the time. For all of the years of your life, most of everybody here has been burning carbohydrates only, because you can only go in ketosis. You can only go into ketosis when your body has no carbohydrates available. So if you stop the source of carbs, allow your body to produce ketones, then you will get the benefit of the healing from the ketones, the medicinal quality of the ketones that will help your body to not be in pain all the time from arthritis and all of these things that we might be suffering from. And also, I'll go through what you get from them in a minute, but it's also a nutrient boost. What kind of nutrients are you talking about, Brother Jamil? Well, I'm talking about proteins, that a nutrient that your body needs. I'm talking about the omega-3s. I'm talking about the vitamins and things that the body also needs to have that are contained in the sardine. And a energy source that is good for the body. So let me just play this video here for you. Oops, I didn't activate it. No, I did not activate it. Let me just see if I can do that. Okay. And, okay. Maybe it doesn't want to play. Okay. I think I might have too many windows open and it's running slow. Let's see what happens.
Sardines for 3 days? Why would a doctor recommend that? Let's start by covering the benefits of a sardine. Sardines are so nutritionally dense that you might be surprised to see all the stuff that we've got packed into them. My friend and colleague Judy Cho did one of the best infographics on these sardines. Her infographic shows that it's high in omega-3s and vitamin D and E and the kind of calcium that's super easy for your body to absorb, along with the important minerals that are tucked into these little special fish. Let me just brag on how good those omega-3s are for you. They're good for your brain and your heart and your overall health. By increasing those omega-3s, you decrease the risk of anxiety and depression by about 20%. The more you increase those omega-3s, the less you have of omega-6s sticking around in your body. And I mean sticking around. They cause an inflammatory response when they have no omega-3s to fight against. So keep those omega-3s high and those omega-6s a little lower by eating these small, nutrient-dense fish. As soon as I convince people to eat them, they start pushing back about, what about all the toxins in those fish? Here's the rule, folks. The smaller the fish, the smaller the risk of mercury. When the regulators came up with the guidelines on how much mercury should we be eating, they used one of the most conservative approaches, almost to the point where they make it impossible to have a mercury toxicity. For example, the recommendations are that you would have to eat 800 ounces of salmon per week to get close to that mercury risk. And what that means actually is you would need 1,000-fold times that to actually have a true risk of mercury poisoning. That's 800,000 ounces of salmon. The point is, you would need to eat so many sardines to get a mercury risk that it's not physically possible. The second thing people chirp about is a BPA risk, because inside the can of a sardine is a plastic lining, and indeed there may be a slight amount of BPA in there. I am not worried about that in my diet, but if you are, you can buy the sardines found in a glass jar. All right, so the first reason you should eat sardines is they're so stinking nutritious. But the second reason you should eat them is because it's really hard to overeat sardines. Let me explain. First of all, sardines come in a very convenient prepackaged dose. Yeah, each can is its own serving, and if you're like me, you can eat it right out of the can. The second reason that sardines are really hard to overeat is that they induce satiety. Yeah, when you eat that fatty protein little fish, it surges the fat-based hormones that are in charge of suppressing our appetite. It surges things like cholecystokinin, peptide YY, and your bile production increases. The bile emulsifies the fat and protein in that fish and allows you to absorb it. If you don't produce enough of that bile, you will indeed burp them up, but it gets better each day that you do it. Today's production of bile is linked to how much you produced yesterday. So each day of the challenge, you will get much better with this side effect. By the end of this challenge, your system will be in full force. You'll be better satiated from smaller amounts of food thanks to your hormones.
I'm going to stop it there. Okay, how do I do this? Hey, she mentioned all of the benefits, and I'm kind of like rehash some of them here. The number one thing is that, as I said, it gets you into this thing called ketosis, which is fat burning, because during the challenge where you're eating nothing but sardines, your body is not going to need to produce insulin to a large extent, certainly not to the degree that you're doing it today. And if not producing insulin, your body will then switch over into the fat burning mode, which means that it will burn fat and produce ketones. It will burn the fat in your body and produce ketones. It's going to stabilize your blood sugar, because the carbs will cause, whenever you eat a carbohydrate, it causes your blood sugar to spike, and then it comes back down again. So if you're not eating them during these 3 days, then you're not going to have that problem. Your blood sugar is going to amazingly get better. It's anti-inflammatory because of the omega-3s that are contained inside of the sardines. So you're going to reduce the inflammation that you're having in your body. The pains, again, not that you may not be in pain in 3 days, but probably on the 4th or 5th day, you'll feel much better, because it'll take a while before that process of inflammation, anti-inflammation, to catch up. You'll feel the results of that if you do it. The nutrients, like you said, you're getting the calcium, vitamin D, vitamin B12, selenium, taurine. You're getting some major stuff here. I mean, this is major healing for the body that's going on when you're eating the sardines. Your heart health, the omega-3s are good for the heart. You're going to get the benefit from that. Muscle maintenance, because of the protein. Like each can of sardines has about 15 grams of protein, which is that's a major dose. So if you eat 2 cans of sardines, you got 30 grams. So you've got a fairly good amount of amount of protein for the day. And you know what protein does. First, it builds the muscle, but it also aids in your body's ability to heal itself. Supports muscle maintenance. I just said that. Aids in the muscle repair. Improve brain function. The omega-3s and the B12 supports the brain health, all of the processes that are taking place inside of the brain. The omega-3s go there and participate in that process. Enhance weight loss. Well, you're going to be losing down in caloric intake for the 3 days. So you're definitely going to lose a few pounds as a result of that. Balanced electrolytes. The sardines can contain a fair amount of sodium, and that's good for the body. That's good for you. So that's will also be a part of that whole process. And the detoxification that will go on that reduce cravings and what have you. All of those are good benefits that you will get just from the 3 days of eating sardines. Sounds like I'm a sardine salesman, doesn't it? I'm not going to repeat what is being said there, but we're going to start the sardine challenge on Monday, early in the morning, like for some people, maybe at Fajr, because I also plan to fast for Monday and Thursday. I used to be planning to fast on Monday. So I'll eat a can of sardines in the morning, and then I'll eat another can of sardines in the evening. So that'll give me two cans of sardines for that day. But if I want to eat a third can of sardines in the evening, or a second can in the morning and eat 2 cans of sardines in the evening, I can do that. I can eat whatever I choose to do during that time frame, because it's about eating sardines. On Tuesday and Wednesday, I will eat on a regular basis. I'll eat a can of sardines in the morning, a can of sardines for, say, lunch, and a can of sardines for dinner, or 2 cans of sardines for dinner. I haven't figured it out, but I know I need to have, say, at least 100 grams of protein for the day for me. Okay, based on my weight and my size and everything, I know I need to have at least 110 grams of protein for the day. So I'll eat 2 cans of sardines in the morning, that's 30 grams, and 2 cans of sardines at night, that's another 30, so that's 60. But I'll also have my spirulina and well, maybe that'll be it for that day. That might be it. So I might need to eat a fifth can of sardines in order to get me closer to the amount that I need. My goal is to eat 110 grams of protein for the day. Whenever you are hungry, you eat sardines. If you whatever your cessation is, it would, for these 3 days. Now we're only talking about the 3 days you will eat sardines, nothing but sardines during those 3 days. Now you can add mayo to it, or mustard, or squeeze some lemon, eat a little olive oil, whatever to add to the texture, to the flavor. And there's some other, I think some, what do you call them? Recipes that I'll have later on that might add a twist to that, but it'll still be within the framework of making all of this work. During this phase, during this challenge, everyone is reminded that if you have medications that you're taking, that you should still take them. Okay, do not change the plan because you're doing this, because Brother Jamil said. No, I'm saying you add this only to replace what you're eating. But if you're taking medications and doing some other things that are necessary for your health and well-being, then you should continue to do that. Certainly not. I mean, sugar doesn't fall into that category. There's no real need for that. I explained why sardines, because they're good, they're healthy, they're a source of protein, all of the things that you need to have. So let's move on from that. I did mention there are 14 grams of protein contained in can of sardines. So if you're eating 2 cans, then that's 15 or 30 grams of protein. Who should consider doing this challenge? It's geared for people who need to have or to clean themselves out, or who need to get their bodies back into balance, because we get to be so far out of balance. You know, it's used to cleanse your blood of sugar and all of the sugar, insulin breakdown products that are floating around in your body. If you did not eat sugar, uh, uh, let's say if you stopped eating sugar, it would take about 72 hours before your body cleansed itself, 48 to 72 hours before your body cleansed itself of the sugar that's in there. So you would then need to, the liver would then begin to produce more sugar, but you're not taking it in from the outside. Here's a caution for people that are on dialysis or have some conditions that will preclude them from eating sardines. And it is noted that the sardines that are stored in cans contain a high sodium content. And again, for people that are on dialysis or have kidney issues, that might knock them out of the ballpark. So do not, if you're doing dialysis or are having problems with your kidneys, then I would caution you against doing the 3-day sardine challenge. The sardines is a high-low protein for people that are on dialysis. You do need protein, but this might take you over the top. So, if you're going to do this, then you certainly would need to talk with your healthcare practitioner before embarking on it. The phosphorus and potassium level is a bit high in the cans of sardines, so I would highly recommend that for that reason alone that you would not do that. And the risk of dehydration, intermittent fasting might lead to a reduced fluid intake and an increased risk of dehydration and an imbalance that might cause a problem with the dialysis process. However, it does not mean that you're totally out of the ball game. For people that are on dialysis, I would recommend eating boiled eggs in the morning, boiled eggs for lunch, and boiled eggs for dinner. And when I say boiled eggs, if you chose to scramble them or fry them or put them through some other processing, then I would say feel free to do that. But definitely boiled eggs are a safe and an effective substitute for participating in a process where you're cleansing your body, you're getting your body back to functioning like it's supposed to. However, I would also caution people that are on dialysis or do this egg challenge instead of the sardine challenge, that you take the supplement, the omega-3 supplement, because that's one of the chief things that you're getting in the in the sardines, and you will not be getting that, but your body needs it. So I would say if you have a supplement at home on, if somewhere, then take the supplement. If not, if you have a chia seeds, then take a couple of tablespoons of chia seeds in yogurt or some way. Some people put it in water, stir it up, and drink that down. But that's a source of omega-3s, as well as grinding some flax seeds up in a grinder or buying some ground flax seeds. But the ground flax seeds that you buy in the supermarket in a bag, it's not going to have the omega-3s. The omega-3s are only present in the right amount in freshly ground flax seeds. So if you're going to do it, you have to either take the omega-3s as a supplement, a pill, capsule, or chia seeds, or flax seeds. You also should need a mineral replacement, a mineral source. So in the morning, you should, in your water, add a little bit of sea salt, not the one in the blue box in your homes. That is not the one that I'm referring to as a salt substitute, or adding it to your water for drinking, so that you're giving your body some electrolytes that it needs. The other alternative or other option would be blackstrap molasses, loaded with minerals. Loaded with minerals. So if you took a teaspoon of blackstrap molasses and put that in some water, mix it up and drank that, then you're getting some minerals in that. And the other one is some Irish moss. I could put an extra S on that, would be another option for getting all of the minerals that your body needs to have, so that you don't go through any types of processes that are not desirable when you're doing this 3-day cleansing of your body, 3-day rebuilding of your body, 3 days of focusing in on your body and giving it things that are healthy for it. You're not giving it everything that it needs, but you're giving it things that are good for it. And for 3 days, you're allowing your body to go through a restorative process where it's getting healthier. Are there any questions so far?
Yes. Can you drink coffee during these 3 days?
Yes. You can drink coffee, black coffee, not coffee with cream, milk, and sugar. Just black coffee.
You mentioned earlier.
Sorry.
Yes.
You mentioned earlier we can do things to enhance the flavor of the sardines. I know some cans come with a hot mustard or hot sauce or tomato sauce. This would be acceptable?
I don't recommend those, because a lot of those tomato sauces have sugar in them. If you can feel certain that they don't, and it's just the flavoring that it has, then I would say okay. But a lot of times they don't put that on the label, and that print on those cans is so small that, But if you can rule out the fact that they don't have any sugar or other additives to it, things that are called enriching agents, fortifying agents, if none of that is in it, then I would say yes.
Okay, what about just hot sauce that we would have at home?
Yes, plenty of that. Hot sauce, mustard, mayo, all of that is okay.
Okay. All right, thank you.
Assalamualaikum. You mentioned those people who are on dialysis could eat hard-boiled eggs. Can you eat hard-boiled eggs during the 3-day sardine fast?
Yes. Yes, as a substitute for the sardines, you can eat the boiled eggs.
Can you eat both?
Now, are you saying eat the sardine or eat the boiled eggs along with the sardines?
Yes. Or during the day.
I would rather keep them separate.
Okay.
Even though the boiled eggs are definitely only protein, so it should not factor in. But and I think some people did do eggs last year when we did this. Anybody out there that remember eating boiled egg or anything like that during the fast?
And how many eggs would you have to eat if you substituted?
Eggs are only about like I think 6 grams of protein each. So it takes 2 eggs to equate 1 can of sardines in terms of protein. Let me just verify that. I'm pretty sure that's correct. Um, any other questions?
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. I just want to.
Each egg has about 6 to 7 grams of protein. So about 2 eggs equals to 1 can of sardines. Okay. Question, or you can continue. I'm sorry, I cut you off.
Yeah. I wanted to ask. Last time you did the study, as you said something about cucumbers that you know,
Kind of breaking up on me.
cucumber that you could add a cucumber, mash the sardines and put it on top of a cucumber. Can you still do that?
Yes, you can still do that. I think I'm coming to that pretty soon, and I'll show you some examples of things that you can add to the sardines while you're doing it. As a matter of fact, let's see if I can get. I sent out to everyone well, I put it up on the WhatsApp, a daily list, 3 days for a daily guide for the sardine challenge. And in that, let's see if I can find that. One more chance. Um, I can't find it right now. I thought I had it handy, but I can't find it. What I'll do is, I'm pretty sure all of those things are included in there. The menu for eating the sardines, along with some other things that you can add along with it that will not break it. Here we go. All right, it says, for breakfast, you can have a can of sardines with olive oil with black pepper, lemon juice, and paprika. But for lunch, it says a can of sardines um, that's with mayo. But you can also add a handful of baby spinach or cucumber slices along with that. And for dinner, it says you could have a can of sardines with, it says shredded cheese on top. Okay, and you can broil that and add a little parsley and stuff to it. So it gives you a little bit of latitude. It's just not eating sardines out of the can. You can play with it, and it's up. You tell us what was good, because I'll be asking you. I usually put up my numbers. What my blood pressure was, my sugar was. So you got a blow by blow reading of what I'm doing. But I also want to hear what you're doing. So that it helps me and helps you to do it better. I mean, if you're doing something special with the sardines, I know here in Morocco, we can go out and buy fresh sardines and cook them up and grill them on the stove or put them in the oven or what have you. And one of the days will probably be some grilled sardines or oven roasted sardines or what have you. But you get the flexibility of not just doing an old eating a can of sardines out of the can. You can jazz it up a little bit. And in this one here, can you see that I haven't finished working on this yet, but this is the guide to the 30 days, and it covers the sardine fast, and it's going to cover the ketosis or the keto eating, as well as the plant-based eating and the Mediterranean. In this, you're going to have menus. If like day one, you get to see sardines with the leafy greens. Okay, that's Monday. That's in the afternoon. Sardines with leafy greens, spinach, and what have you, cucumbers. And in the evening, 6 p.m., you can have sardines with zucchini noodles sauteed in butter. Okay, so it's up to you, and you will get the option, and you will get this that you can use as a guide to help you to do it your way, add your own twist and touches to it. With the sardine challenge, there are no dessert menus here, but for other days, other means of fasting, you will get menu plans, and you will get dessert plans as well as beverage plans of things that you can drink or things that you can add to what it is that you're doing in order to make it more interesting, more exciting. So it's just not the same thing every day, eating a boiled egg in the morning, an egg in the afternoon, and an egg. No, you get to be flexible with it. Are there any questions so far? Okay. Keto-focused eating is the second phase. We talked about the sardine challenge. So that'll be that'll be done, and that's Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. Thursday is going to be like a in-between day. It won't be as, there are some days where you get to choose what it is that you want to do during that day. If you wanted to say take a day off, you didn't want to start the keto on Thursday, you can start keto on Friday. Okay, but Thursday would be an optional day that you can choose to do whatever it is that you wanted to do that day. But okay, here. Keto eating, we've talked about keto. Many of you know what keto, but I did see some new names there, so I need to make sure that everybody understands when I say keto, what it is that I mean, because there are a lot of definitions for what keto is, and all of them are not always the same. Any questions, somebody? I thought I heard something in the background.
Are you showing different screens? Because we only see one screen.
Which one is that now? You see the green one?
No, we see a screen that says drink, supplements.
Okay. So my screen sharing is paused, this, so I need to go back here. Thanks for calling that. That's good. Now, do you see that? Keto way of eating?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. So keto is low carbohydrates. It's not a no carb. It's a low carb, and it's a good carb. It's not all of the carbs that you can eat in the world. It's certain carbs, and of those carbs, low carbs. The carbs should equal to be about, I would say, 50%, 50 grams, not percent of the menu of what you're eating, but it should be about 50 grams of protein a day. I'm sorry, carbs. And it constitutes about 5 to 10% of the overall intake of food that you might have for that day. 5 to 10% would be carbs. The other 20 to 25% would be protein. And fat, on the other, is the biggest amount of stuff that you would be eating. See, 70 to 75%. Now, most people that are doing keto do not focus in on the fat to that extent and make sure that they're getting 70% of fat. People just don't do that. They don't even know how to do that. They don't even don't even know what fats to take in to make sure that they're getting the right amount of fats in their diet every day. So, but that's what I'm here for, to help you to understand so that you can get it almost as close to being right as you possibly can. Because the ketosis, the keto diet is really based on, burning fat. Now, you want it to burn your fat. You want it to burn other fat that you feed it, other fat that you eat. You want it to burn that, and it will burn that. But the long-term goal is to burn your fat. That's what ketosis is, being in ketosis. Thus, the keto way of eating means that fat is somewhere in that formula, somewhere. And we were bringing in fat by eating it, by drinking olive oil, eating avocados, or using avocado oil to cook with, using butter as a way of cooking things and adding that to your food, and increasing the amount of butter that you're taking. Ghee is a kind of a clarified butter, and I make my own ghee, so that's also added. If you scramble your eggs in the morning using ghee as the source, it'll withstand a higher temperature than a regular butter taken out of the refrigerator would. Ghee is a good healthy fat to have. If you can eat tallow, most of the time tallow is not available, but that's when you you cook meat, and the fat that's left behind in the frying pan when it gets cold and it's like grease. That's, if it's beef, it's called tallow. If it's, I guess, chicken fat or some other fats, then that's what it is. But those fats are also consumable, and they can add to your diet. Now, someone is going to ask you, or someone is thinking there, wow, all of that stuff is going to cause my cholesterol to go through the ceiling. And to some extent, some of you might be right. Some of us are not capable of metabolizing fat the way in which it should be, because you've been consuming so much sugar that your body will not process cholesterol in the way in which it's supposed to be processed. If you follow the keto way of eating, your cholesterol might increase initially because your body is in a process of readjusting, recalibrating itself, but it will lower itself. It will get back to normal. And I'm a proof and point of that. My cholesterol now is normal. It's not elevated, the way in which it used to be. I've never had a very, very, very high cholesterol anyway. 100, 180, 190 has been my range. But they've lowered the level down now. I mean, anything less than 180 is considered normal. If you're above that, then the doctor is going to give you statins. They have to do that. But 190 of cholesterol is not too high. Your body needs cholesterol. That's how it makes all of the hormones that you need, that you have, your estrogen, your testosterone, all of those androgens that are manufactured are cholesterol based. So you need to have a fair amount of cholesterol in your body. But the question there is how much is to get the right amount, and certainly not to get your calcium to going where it needs to go to. So it's not hanging around and binding with cholesterol and forming plaque in your arteries. That's not good. So we need to definitely take care of that. But I say to you that the problem with that you eating high fat in the keto diet is not going to cause you to run into that problem with your cholesterol. Initially, it may increase, but it will find a way to normalize itself again. The keto way of eating also, it calls for eliminating sugar and grain, which means no bread. Okay, that's out in the diet. And a lot of the starchy vegetables, the potatoes, a lot of the beans are not considered keto. And again, in the initial phase of switching over to keto, beans are not allowed. But if you maintain it and decide that this is the way that you're going to go, then you can return to eating things that are considered not keto. Your body can now recognize things and process them the way in which they're supposed to. So you can get back to normal again and become a normal person. Keto is not, it doesn't have to be a way of life. It is a way to get healthy, but it doesn't necessarily have to be a way of life for you for the rest of your life. You start out, you get your health back, and then you can switch to something that you find or that may not be as restrictive as the keto diet is. Again, the healthy fats, we mentioned avocado oil, avocados, lots of nuts, lots of walnuts, lots of almonds, lots of pumpkin seeds, lots of sunflower seeds, lots of different kinds of healthy foods that you can take in. Olive oil and olives and things like that, plenty of. The fatty fish, the salmon, the sardines, the mackerel, those are all highly desirable for you to consume them during the keto phase of eating. The protein is a moderate protein. It's not a high protein diet. We're not talking the carnivore diet. We're talking keto, which is eating protein moderately, small piece of fish. The goal for protein, so that your body does not go into protein deficit, is that you should be consuming 100 grams of protein a day. Almost everybody that I'm talking to, at least 100 grams. It's based on your body size, your weight, the number of kilograms of body weight that you have is factored into how much protein that you should be consuming on a daily basis. And certainly age also plays into the formula, because as you get older, the need for you to have protein so that you can replace the protein that your body is losing, because we're not moving around like we used to. So we're going to lose protein. So in order to not run into a protein deficit where we're losing our body mass to the point where we cannot replenish ourselves, then we need to work on that. We need to figure that one out. Most people don't, and certainly a lot of people talking about eating and fasting and doing different types of ways of eating do not focus in and make sure that they're getting the right amount of protein on each and every day. And this way of eating requires that you give your body electrolytes in the form of potassium, sodium, magnesium, and the other minerals that your body needs, the potassium, the phosphorus, and what have you. All of those things are needed by the body, so you have to take them in. Now, sea salt, Celtic salt, I mentioned earlier, having a blackstrap molasses has minerals in it. So if you took a tablespoon of blackstrap molasses and put it in some water and drank that, you're going to get your minerals. Your Irish moss is another source of getting your minerals in. So if you're getting your minerals in, then you're going to be good on this way of eating. Are there any questions so far? Okay, we talked about things that you can't eat on keto. It gives you a large variety of things that you can't eat in terms of the meats, the different types of poultry, meat, dairy, vegetables. It gives you a whole list of things that you can eat. But the things that you can't eat are not really earth-shattering. But some people, have that. Their beans, they got to have their beans and things that are important to have. But we're trying to get you healthy again. And being healthy means trying to do something to your body, with your body, that will allow you to get there. And sometimes you have to be restrictive. You can't eat everything that you used to eat, because what you used to eat got you to where you are now. So you got to now say, okay, if I'm telling Dr. Jamil saying, don't eat this, and I'm saying, don't for the time being, we're talking about for 7 days now, 7 days, okay, that we'll be doing keto. And then another 7 days, we're going to do plant-based eating. And then another 7 days, we're going to do Mediterranean eating. So we're only talking about 7 days for you to put on restriction things that you might really like to eat. For those that are really sugarholics, for 7 days, just don't eat no sugar. Don't eat no cakes, no pies, no, whatever it is. I guess we're lucky that there aren't any major holidays now. I think there's Martin Luther King's birthday coming along, but we don't celebrate that like that. We don't have no big. Anybody have a big cookout for Martin Luther King birthday?
Should.
Yeah, we should. Yeah, I agree, but we ain't doing that. Right? We don't do that. We did that big one we did was like for January 1st. We did our and the Kwanzaa thing. People did the Kwanzaa thing, right? So we did our thing now. So we're saying restricting what it is you're doing, and I'll send you a list of things that you can eat, and a list of things that you should not eat, and a list of things that that are like you get 50 grams of carbs that you can play with. You can eat them any way you want. So if somebody wanted to put a 2 tablespoons of sugar in there, or I'm sorry, 2 tablespoons of honey in their tea, just realize that that's 25 grams of protein of carbs there. So that you only got 25 grams of carbs left to eat whatever else it is that you're eating for the day. Anybody get that? Any? You can switch it up, but you realize when you do something, you've given your carb quota a big dent for the day, and you got to restrict how much other carbs you're eating. You can still eat the meat. You can still, have the fat on it. Go out and buy a big steak with fat trimmings and everything already on it. Eat the whole thing, and you got your fat and you got your protein for the day. Someone asked a question about how a piece of chicken breast is about 25 grams of protein, right? A chicken breast is about 25 grams of protein. So if you're eating 2 chicken breasts, you've got 50 grams of protein for a meal, which means you need to get another 50 grams from somewhere. Well, for 2 eggs in the morning will give you, we said each egg is about 7 grams. So that's about 15 grams right there for 2 eggs. Okay. For lunch, if you had a can of tuna, that'll give you some protein. So you can get your protein. You can mix and match it. It doesn't matter how you do it. It just matters that you do it. And if you didn't do it one day, just don't do it the next day. Because when you're running into deficits with protein and fat, you're putting your body into problems. You're running into difficulty. And I don't really, if you don't eat as much fat as you should, I wouldn't lose sleep over that, because your body's going to find the fat. If you're not eating the carbs, if you're staying within the 50 grams of carbs, your body is going to be able to burn that up and then jump onto the fat. And then if it burns fat, and you don't have any fat that you've eaten too much, then it's going to burn your fat. Then that's when you're going to lose the weight. Then if you're doing intermittent fasting to go with it, that means you're going to be able to maximize the effect is you're eating. You're eating the right foods, but you're getting extra benefits from doing all of that. that clear? Keto way of eating is again lower. If you look at this plate over here, you see the cucumber, you see the tomatoes, you see some berries in there, all of that, and some protein, some chicken baked or grilled chicken, and 2 eggs. That's a keto meal that is loaded with nutrition as well as protein and healthy fats. The oil that's on top of that is more than likely, say, an olive oil or maybe an avocado oil or was it protein, coconut oil, other oils, but maybe some butter sauce is better. But the thing is to make sure you're getting good, healthy, nutritious food. We want to eliminate the grains over here, the bread, the bagels, and the crackers, and all of those things are really loaded. I mean, they're starch. That is pure sugar when you eat it. It may not taste like it, but your body is going to treat it as though it's sugar. So you gotta eliminate it from the diet. And eat things that look like this: the nuts, pecans, walnuts, almonds, pistachios, what's the other one? Cashews, all healthy nuts, and then of course the pumpkin seeds and the sunflower seeds and the things that I mentioned earlier are all healthy. Eat as much of those things as you can. Try to avoid the trans fat, things that are cooked in processed oil. Oils that you may have. If I'm not going to say people should stop buying canola and safflower and what are those other oils? They're all bad oils. So try to avoid bringing them in your house if you can. And if you do, you have to cook something in it because your recipe calls for that. Then you got to be careful how you do it. I'll always try to find a way to substitute or alter it so that you don't have to use those oils. And the electrolyte balance is important to have, to make sure you get the potassium, the chloride, sodium, magnesium, and calcium all in something during the course of the day so that your body is getting the minerals. Again, there are other minerals we need to have, but these are the basic. These are what they call the electrolytes that are necessary for the bodily functions to take place without difficulty. And yes. Any other question or statement?
Jamil, all these things you're gonna put. Okay, I'm asking, are you gonna put those on the chat?
Yes, I will have tomorrow, maybe later today, a guide for fasting, for doing this, the 4 phases of the fasting. So you will have it. It's about 20, 25 pages worth of information that you can, and it has menus in it, has recipes, it has everything that you need to have to get you through this 30-day period.
Yeah, I really need to go through this 3-day sardine thing again. Give us some hints also in the chat for the 3-day sardines.
things that we can eat with the sardines?
Okay. All right, I'll do that.
Tomorrow morning for fasting, when I get up for suhoor, to
Yes.
have a can of sardines and what else?
And what else? Okay. I will give you, you want to know it now, or you want me to
You
send it
can
to you later on?
give us a hint now.
Okay.
'Cause I usually prepare my everything at night for the morning, so and my
You
night
can
is
have
early.
the sardines and some sliced cucumbers, you know, maybe 3 or 4 rings of that, some little mustard, hot sauce, um, squeeze a little lemon on it. Usually day one, I start out pretty straightforward with it for me. Now, that doesn't mean that you have to do that. But you can also add a slice of avocado with it.
Okay.
Someone mentioned earlier, can you eat a boiled egg with that or not? I don't see why not. I personally don't. I won't, because I'm a purist. You know, I will try to do it as straightforward as I can. But I wouldn't knock it, because again, it's protein to get your body into that thing called autophagy. And by the third day, I would say the second going into the third day, you will begin to feel your body into you will feel different.
Yeah, I did
I don't know how to describe it per se, but the only thing I'll say is just be on the lookout for a different feeling. It's a good idea for the sardine fast for you to keep some notes on yourself. I have a little book I write everything down in. So when I check my blood pressure, when I check my sugar, when I check my weight, when I measure my waist, so I know what my waist is. I'm not looking to lose inches on my waist on the sardine challenge, but at least got a baseline for one over into keto, that something is going to happen there. I had to wait, you know, I've done 3 days of eating only sardines. Now I'm doing keto eating. So, and also doing intermittent fasting. So I'm not eating all the time. I'm eating like in the morning, and I'm eating a meal in the evening. And during the regular days, on like Tuesdays and Wednesday, I won't be doing the regular Islamic fast. I'll be eating like 11 o'clock, my can of sardines. And then at uh, 6 or 7 o'clock, I'll eat my second can of sardines, but I might eat a can of sardines in between, because you can eat as many cans of sardines as you feel like eating. It's not restricted, as long as you're eating sardines. And you know, that boiled egg may substitute for some people for a can of sardines or some sardines. And of course, if again anyone that has a dialysis issue, then they can eat the boiled egg and still join us with pursuing all of this.
Okay.
I think also there's something to be said for when you are resetting the body. It's good to just do like the mono diet, where you're not trying to combine too many foods, like, so you would stick to just one or the other. Do you have any information?
I don't have anything. I didn't put up anything on that, but I like that philosophy for the sardine phase, for
Right, in the
keto
sardine
and
phase, yeah.
for the sardine phase. Yes, I like keeping it. That's why I say I'm a like a purist in that sense. I like to have the sardines with some mustard. I gotta have the mustard. But you know, anything else with it, I don't do it. Again, I think last year I ate a egg with it. And I think I scrambled it, but that was like on the third or fourth day, because sometimes you do get bored with eating just a can of sardines, and it does kind of wear on you a little bit, even for the 3 day period. But the goal is to get it done so we can then, you know, start the process. The journey towards getting healthy starts with that can of sardines.
Can you eat a salad with that?
Not in this phase. You can eat a slice of cucumber or some lettuce or some spinach, but not a salad as a space filling meal. I wouldn't recommend that.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. Anyone else?
I already
I have a
typed
question.
in the chat my question, but
Oh,
I want to, because I'm a big coffee drinker, so it's okay to do my coffee in the morning with the sardines. And if there's a
yes.
benefit of coffee, can you share that?
Coffee has loads of benefits, you know, in terms of the nutritional value that you get from it. A lot of and of course, the fact that it's not. There was a question, word that I want to use, but I can't get it right now. But yes, there are nutritional values, merits to drinking coffee. Let me just see as I'm late.
Can you compare the coffee values between what we get here in Morocco and what we traditionally see in the United States? If there's a
I want to
major
do that.
difference?
No, no. There are uh, some brands of coffee, not brands, but some varieties of coffee that have more um, nutritive value to them than others. But those are available in America as well as in Morocco. I don't know what variety of beans they use here, uh, you know, Arabica or what kind they're using here. I never really stopped to look at that. Um, but you did that question did spur some thought that I need to begin to look into that. Uh, Somebody said last
Okay, I
year I had a
appreciate that.
medium-sized salad with my sardines for dinner. There are some for dinner in the evening. There are some facilitations that you can use that gives you a little bit more flexibility with it. Um, but again, the amount of what do you call it? Carbs you're adding to the sardines, you know, I would want to keep that as to the minimum as you can. If you're monitoring your blood sugar, it will be interesting to know after 2 hours, I would say an hour or so after you eat, how much your blood sugar increases uh, during that time. I will be doing that. I will be keeping a track of after I eat my sardines and whatever else I eat with it, you know, and I'll have a record of all of that, just how high my blood sugar increased, and you know, of course, the effect of all of that, and I'll try and have that. Yes, you can have your coffee. I'm reading the questions here. Okay, I think that's it.
I have a question. Is
Yes.
it okay to slightly cook the sardines? Like I like to make it with tomato and onion and garlic. Saute the tomato and the onion, and then
You can do that, sure.
put the sardines in
Sure.
it after.
Yes. Yes, you can. You definitely can do that.
Okay. Thank you.
But for those that are using the hot sauce and other condiments, just check the label and make sure there is no extra sugar in them on the label. Check the label and make sure there is no hidden sugars in there.
Can you eat avocado with that?
Yes. Yes, avocado is definitely allowable to that. Allowed to be eaten. I'm going to hold up on the next section was that we were going to move to plant-based eating, but I'm going to hold up on that because I think I will give you too much information. You're going to have enough, your hands full, dealing with the 3-day sardine challenge and the keto. And next Sunday, we'll talk about plant-based eating and Mediterranean for the following weeks so that you get a chance to digest some of this information. Is that a good plan?
Yes.
Okay, thanks.
Sounds good.
I needed some reassurance on that. I really want to thank everyone who are deciding to join this journey towards, I call it getting healthy. You might call it something else. For me, it's like a renewal or reawakening. My body getting ready again to do something. And revisiting something that I did many, many, many years ago, but now to get prepared for Ramadan in a different frame of mind, a different sense of purpose, so that the goal is to be able to be in the best possible health and mindset that we can possibly be in to get as much out of Ramadan as we can possibly get out. That's really the goal for it. I think I mentioned something earlier. See if I can go back. Yeah, this thing having to do with community, connecting with the community and what have you. Because this is our community here. We are a community of people who are joining together, have joined together to get healthy. And we need to kind of maintain connection. We need to also maybe call other friends who we know can benefit from what it is we're doing, and let's do this thing together. We need to develop a community mindset. Where we're trying to do things on a collective basis for the betterment of all of us here together. Okay. The other part is plan for charity. Plan to give during these months that are coming up. Give a little bit more to causes and people that you see out and about. In Morocco, you see people everywhere, every corner. After the masjid, every prayer almost, there are people that are in need of a little handout, a little sustenance for them to buy something with. So that's what we need to be mindful of that, and so that we're putting our best effort forward. We also need to educate ourselves about what it is we're doing, and that's what we're doing here. I try to do that, take care of that part of it for you, but also you need to also help me to do a better job at what it is that I'm supposed to be doing. So if I'm not covering something, or I'm becoming like, I think Sister Amabusa said, we do this every week. Well, yeah, we do. There's some things we need to do every week because some of this stuff is heavy duty, and how much of this stuff are we able to put into action? So immediate repetition is a part of incorporation, integration. So when we hear things often enough, we can say, let me add this to what it is now. Add that to what it is that I'm doing. Like I didn't say anything about drinking the warm water in the morning, but that's on the plan that I sent this morning on WhatsApp. There's a attachment where it says the daily, what do I call it? Daily schedule for Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. In that, it says, well, in the morning, you should drink a cup of warm water with lemon. And for those that want to add the hibiscus to it, add that to it. But drink the warm water and the and add later on, add the black seed. Okay, these are things we should be doing every day, not once in a while. Once you do it every day, it becomes a habit, and you won't forget about it. And also the turmeric tonic, whichever form you take, whichever one you use. I've given you several to use, but are you using them? I definitely, if you got some pains and you are struggling to to walk and do things, you need to be on turmeric and ginger and garlic and all of that added together in some kind of a tonic form, because it's going to help your body. It's going to heal your body. It's going to get rid of the inflammation that's going on in your body. So yeah, I repeat myself a lot, but it's all good. We all, hopefully we're all going to get there to that place of health and well-being one day, inshallah.
Jamil, with the garlic, mostly, I mean, I cook with garlic a lot in my foods, but the turmeric and ginger, I do take a pill of that has the organic turmeric, 1,500 milligrams, and 300 milligrams of ginger. Also, another turmeric. So it has about another 15, and the black pepper.
Yes.
I forgot. I do not always consistent, but when I make my water a container it holds about, I think it holds about six cups of water. I usually put a cucumber and ginger and lemon in that, and that's what I use to drink during the day. That's not my morning water. It's not my dinner water, and I'm not consistent with it, but most of the time that's what I'm doing. But for my ginger and turmeric, I do take that every day.
That's
I'm
excellent.
doing it in the pill form, because that's sometimes it's easier for me to move around with it. Put it that way.
Yes, yes, yes. I understand. That's good. That's good.
Yeah. And you mentioned being charitable giving. I always felt, well, I think my Sheikh Hassan had mentioned to me years and years ago that you should get something every day. So when I go out, I try to keep $1 in my pocket. And when someone asks for something, I don't care who they are, I just give it to them. And I always try to keep extra change. I don't like opening up my pocketbook in the street nowadays. So I keep $1 in my pocket. And we have to remember, even when you give to your family members, you get double blessings, one for giving and the other for giving to your kin.
Yes.
I mean, you could feed them.
Yeah, well, a lot of times we forget that, and that is very, very, very important. I'm glad you mentioned
that. Even I told you I walk around my hall, particularly in the evenings after I eat, and I do this and I make certain zikrs for about 20 minutes. And one of my neighbors, they're not Muslim, but she came to my door the other day and said, "Look, whatever it is that you're doing, walking up and down, what are you saying today? Please keep it up because I feel it in the hall." So whenever she's coming out, they feeling it on my hall. I was surprised when she said that. I said, "Wow, too." Yeah.
MashaAllah.
Yeah, one of my young neighbors, young family, and so forth.
Yes. Yes.
So you never know what you're doing for other people.
Yes. That is a powerful statement you made there. I mean, that resonates with me inside and out because it's so, I spend so much time with my family and concerned with them and in doing things and writing stuff and giving them messages that I feel or they need to know. So every day, I mean, they get a inspirational message from me.
Yeah.
And it's the giving doesn't always have to be financial because some people don't need your money. They just need your positive energy.
They need a hug. That's what it
is. A hug. Yeah.
Which comes in a lot of different forms. That's why I try to send, not as consistent as I used to be, but I try to send messages. You get them from me, Jamil. Often as I can. And it started with my sending to my granddaughters. Because I put them in a group. I have a lot of grandkids, 36. But I put them in groups. And I wanted them, and some of them are Muslim and some are not Muslim. But the first one I sent out is reminding them what to look for in their friends. It's not everybody you need to hang out with, and not everyone, who's helping you. So those are the kind of messages I started sending out to my grandsons and my grandsons, etc. Even about working jobs, different values.
Yes.
And that's messages to all. And I get response, they put little hearts on it, thumbs up, whatever. But at least I know they're reading it. And hoping they're living by it.
That's the start. You're putting it out there. Like they said, planting seeds. You're planting the seeds, and it'll grow in time, inshallah. So that's what's.
Yeah, inshallah.
That's what we got to do.
They do. Even one of my granddaughters, my great granddaughter, who's in college, had a little part-time job. She keeps calling me, "Grandma, don't forget to tell me when you're going to pay your medical bills because I want to help pay your medical bills." And I keep saying, I say, alhamdulillah. I said, don't forget, you also a college student and you just have a part-time job. And she'd always send me little things.
Wow.
And this is my non-Muslim granddaughter.
What a good
Yeah, they're very sweet. And one of them calls me every single evening.
Alhamdulillah.
Sometimes I say, you don't have to call every day, but she calls every day, so I'm not going to stop her. Sometimes it's the only actual voice I hear outside the TV for a day, because everybody text messaging.
Wow, that's the truth.
Alhamdulillah. That's inspirational right there.
Yeah. Anyway, I'm gonna go eat breakfast, Jamil. I'll cook my breakfast.
All right. I will.
Which is non-keto.
We'll
So
talk.
you know my Sunday breakfast.
You don't have to tell me
No
anything. All right.
comment.
But anyway, I wanted to add. I mentioned the turmeric, ginger, garlic tonic you drink in the morning. I drink that in the morning. Usually after I come from the masjid for prayer, I usually have my green tea and my turmeric tonic to start the day. And at night, I was drinking green tea, but I said, that stuff it got caffeine, it's going to keep me up at night. And every night I was like, for the past 2 months, I've been drinking a cup of green tea at night at around, I've come from the masjid at 8 something. And, I wanted it at that time. But I said, let me do turmeric milk with cinnamon and a little bit of, I put some allulose sweetener in it just to give it a little, or like stevia or something like that. But this is monk fruit and allulose. And it was like delicious. And I slept well last night. And I looked at my numbers today and I said, not bad. It's not perfect, but it was good. So that's my new routine.
You said the green tea at night, you put the cinnamon in what?
Cinnamon, some milk, like a glass of milk, and then some turmeric in it, and some cinnamon, and a little bit of sweetener.
Okay.
And that's it. So it's like drinking a nice, warm, refreshing, and it is warm. I will usually warm it up and it's a nice, refreshing drink to go to sleep with.
Yeah, that's what they was. That's what used to get people back in the old days, I guess. If you couldn't sleep,
yeah. Oh, it's got black pepper in there too.
Sometimes.
Yeah.
Put warm glass of milk with cinnamon or something, or I think my grandfather used to put warm milk with molasses, blackstrap molasses.
Blackstrap molasses, yeah.
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 And he put blackstrap molasses on everything, so it seemed, I think about it, on his biscuits. He may eat one bad thing, but he's putting the good thing on top of it.
Yeah. Yeah, we used to have not freshly squeezed cane syrup, but from that season, they make cane syrup, and it comes in like a glass jar, like it's not no label or nothing. They just put the syrup in the jar, and that was like, it was molasses for us, but it was like real. It wasn't like Aunt Jemima syrup. It was much thicker.
Right.
But we didn't call it molasses like syrup. But those were good days. So
yeah, and
anyway,
I still think that we can do that's out there that we use to supplement that we don't use anymore. Like you just mentioned, the cane, blackstrap molasses. That has a lot of iron in it.
A lot of iron, all of the minerals are in blackstrap molasses.
I know.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, I don't know when I bought blackstrap molasses, but think of maybe I better buy a jar and keep in the house.
When I come back to America, I bought one once when I came back to Morocco, and I wish I had gotten a bigger jar because that's all that's all you need to have for minerals. If you just did that every day, would be sufficient.
Maybe the next time you come back, you send a barrel to yourself in Morocco. It's cheaper than the luggage.
It's true. No, I got to put it in my luggage. If I put it in my luggage, I'm good. Huh? Yes. Are there any other questions, comments, feedback? Drink.
Oh, that's why I was saying something.
Let me see if there is. Just checking on the questions here. Let's see. Okay. Well, further questions on the sardine fast. I will be putting up some information on that tonight, and we will go from there.
All right. Inshallah.
Happy sardine fasting to everyone.
Inshallah. I'll start tomorrow.
Inshallah. Yes. Alhamdulillah. Alhamdulillah.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Her name is Safa.
Assalamu alaikum.
Walaikum salam.
Thank you, Dr. Jamil, for putting all of this together. Thank you so much for this.
My pleasure. I'm in this for the commitment. I'm committed to doing this. So, sure.